Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Today we're taking a look at what could possibly be one of the best Black Series figures released, not just in 2025, but in the entire Black Series line so far. This is Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, and it is without a doubt one of the best Black Series figures ever made, in my opinion at least. Everything about it is an absolute home run, from the likeness to Hayden Christensen, to the articulation and engineering, and in particular the execution of the costume are all absolutely perfect, and I couldn't think of a better figure to add to the collection than this one. Even if you're a casual collector and you don't pick up every Black Series release that Hasbro put out, this is a must-have for the collection, and if you'd like to add it to your own, then be sure to hit the link down below in the video description. That will take you to staractionfigures.co.uk, and at the time of filming this review, Anakin is in stock and available to buy, and let me tell you, I highly recommend him. Now this figure was first made available as part of the epic San Diego Comic Con exclusive set featuring Obi-Wan Kenobi, the lava platform, Mustafar panning droid, and a plethora of other accessories. Unfortunately, as we all know, that set was very hard to come by, but thankfully Hasbro released both characters in the main line, and I am more than happy with this release. The figures from that set were my personal main wants, and so to have this figure as part of my display is an absolute treat, and I can't wait to share this figure with you in more detail. Before we do that, we are of course going to take a look at the packaging that this one comes in, and then we'll get into all the details of the figure, including the accessories, the articulation and the deco. So as you can see, Anakin does come in standard Black Series style packaging. We have the colour band running around the edge of the box and the number in the series and name of the character just up the side. Down the spine we have that really cool image of Anakin with Mustafar in the background looking absolutely awesome, and then on the back we have a brief description of the character, that name and number in the series once again, and as you can see a larger image of Anakin on the back. Very, very cool imagery and artwork on this one, absolutely love it. But the packaging itself, in my opinion at least, is the figure's only shortcoming, as this figure and Obi-Wan Kenobi should definitely have been released in that iconic Revenge of the Sith style packaging that we saw other characters like Count Dooku, Aayla Secura and Commander Cody released in earlier this year. For whatever reason, Hasbro decided not to release the main characters in that packaging, and in my opinion that was a huge missed opportunity. Hasbro would have been printing money if they'd released Anakin and Obi-Wan on those cards. I would have definitely picked up multiples to have carded as well as loose in my collection, but be that as it may, it doesn't take away from the figure itself. So without further ado, let's jump into this review and take a look at the chosen one. So here we have Anakin Skywalker in all his glory, and the first thing that I really want to touch on before we get into this review is just how much nostalgia this figure makes me feel. Looking at this one takes me right back to 2005 and the excitement that I had for the release of Revenge of the Sith in cinemas. Not only that, but it was a golden age of collecting as well. The merchandise for episode 3 was absolutely fantastic, and having this figure in hand takes me right back to that era. Now, as I said at the start of the review, this is, in my opinion, the perfect Black Series release. Everything about it, from the sculpt, the articulation, and in particular the paint applications, are really nicely done, and it is just such a fantastic addition to the collection. As I mentioned, that head sculpt is absolutely top tier. The likeness to Hayden Christensen is really nicely done. The photoreal face printing technology obviously goes a long way to add realism to the sculpt itself. You've got a lot of depth in the eyes there, as you can see. You've got the scar down the side of his face, and the hair is sculpted really, really nicely on this one as well. It's such a faithful representation of how Anakin appears on screen in Revenge of the Sith, and again, I'm thrilled to have this figure as part of the collection. Now, in addition to a fantastic head sculpt, we also have a really nicely sculpted costume. As you can see, the Jedi tabards are really nicely sculpted. You've got great detail going on there with all the creases and folds On the robes themselves, you have this really nice, subtle fabric texture sculpted in, which looks really, really good. Again, adds so much realism to the figure itself. And the tabards, as you can see, have this really cool leather look to them, and that is really aided by the paint used, which looks fantastic. Now, one of the things I really like about the costume itself is the fact that, like most Black Series figures recently released, the tabards, or the outer layers of the costume, are a separately sculpted piece, which really goes a long way to aid the posability of the figure. As you can see, when you move those tabards out of the way, that gives us a much better look at the butterfly joints in Anakin's shoulders, and these are really nice deep cut joints that really go a long way to get this figure in every pose that you'd want to get him in. Now, in terms of articulation, this figure is definitely of 2025 standards. Really great articulation across the board on this one. We have a ball joint at the bottom of the head and the base of the neck. We have those aforementioned butterfly joints in the shoulders. Really nice deep cut elbow joints as well. And we also have, once again, the return of ball jointed wrists. Now, one thing that really stands out to me about this figure as well is the fact that the forearm that's sculpted into the sleeve is actually on a ball joint as well. So not only do we have ball jointed wrist, but we have ball jointed forearms as well, which I believe is a first in the Black Series line. We also have a nice ball joint at the torso. We have ball joints at the hips, and there is a split down the lower portion of the tunic, which again doesn't hinder any of that articulation. Unfortunately, being a modern Black Series figure of 2025 standard, we don't have the swivel cut at the thigh, which isn't a major issue for me personally. I can't say that I really miss that articulation point, but I know that some people prefer to see it. We also have hinges in the knees, we have boot swivel, and hinges and rockers at the ankles. So really great articulation on this figure all round. As you saw at the start of the review, he can hold his lightsaber with two hands really well, and that is one of the biggest takeaways for this figure for me personally, is just how real it looks. As I've said in previous reviews and in previous live streams, these Black Series figures are going beyond the point of looking like plastic figures, and they're starting to look like micro versions of the characters that we see on screen. They're becoming so lifelike, the proportions are absolutely perfect, and just visually, they're such a joy to look at. Now, in terms of paint applications, as I mentioned earlier, the head sculpt is really nicely done, the costume is really nicely painted, and we have some great detail on the belt in the form of studs, buckles and pouches. We also have the highlights on the glove there. As you can see, you've got the silver attachments and the black painted details on there as well. They look really good. He does come with his lightsaber, which is really nicely painted as well. As you can see, it's a really nice representation of Anakin's saber that we see in the movie. You've got nice silver paint on there, which is nice to see. The gold on the button, and obviously the black highlights towards the grip. And of course the blade can be removed and the hilt can be plugged into the hole on Anakin's belt. So all round a great looking figure. Really impressed with how this one turned out. I love every single thing about it, and if you haven't picked this one up for yourself yet, I highly recommend that you do so. So before we wrap up this review, I thought I'd quickly give you guys a side-by-side comparison of the 2025 Anakin Skywalker figure with his original release from 2013. As you can see, it's a night and day difference. Even by 2013 standards, the original Anakin figure from the Black Series was absolutely terrible in my opinion. The plastic that they used was really soft and gummy and felt really low quality. The articulation was terrible. You could barely get this figure to hold the lightsaber with two hands. And again, even by 2013 standards, the likeness was absolutely terrible. The only thing that this figure had going for it was the fact that it came with an alternate head, which was equally as bad as this one. And again, it's just such a night and day difference. The 2025 version is far superior on every level, proportionally, detail-wise, sculpt, articulation. This one ticks all the boxes, and even if you have the archive update to the original release, this one knocks it out of the water, and you definitely need to add it to your collection. So that's going to conclude this review on Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. Once again, an absolutely fantastic addition to the Black Series 6-inch line, and in my opinion, one of the best Black Series figures ever made. This one is perfect and ticks every box. Sculpt, articulation, paint applications and deco. This figure has it all, and it's figures like this that give me hope for the future, and I can't wait to see what the Black Series has in store for us in 2026. I'll be back with some more Black Series figure reviews very, very soon, so please stay tuned, and until next time, as always, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.